Coming up on AI Haven't a Clue,
we're talking movies and war. NASA's annual budget is about 25 billion, so Meta could fund nearly 3 NASAs for a year.
James is telling us about the most unexpected but genius use of AI.
Very, very close.
I don't. Do you actually?
Yeah, I thought it was good. We're chatting to Phil Rowley, Head of Futures at Omnicom Media Group UK.
This is not about replacing, this is about extending.
And the AI challenge is back. This is great. This is brilliant. Hello and welcome to AI Haven't a Clue, the podcast where we try to understand this big old world of AI one mystery at a time.
I was seeing where the mystery is going to come. We're still on mysteries. That's wonderful.
My name's George Butler. This is the part where you introduce yourself, James.
Yeah, me. Yeah,
you.
James Chandler. Yeah, resident expert on this podcast.
In this episode, on the way, we are covering all of the latest news from the world of AI, including how movies are being rewritten with happy endings. Mm-hmm. Plus, we are covering the AI wars going on between tech giants.
We're joined by Phil Rowley, Head of Futures at Omnicom Media Group, and he's helping us to stay ahead of all the trends in gaming and things like immersive media as well.
He's a bit of a genius, isn't he?
He's very good.
He's good.
Careful on the genius.
Well, you know, he is. He's a proper expert. He's a real expert if ever I've seen one. And of course, the AI challenge is back, and James is also tackling one of our very difficult listener questions.
Yes.
But to begin, let's kick off with what has been making the
Hang on a minute, you were out and about last night.
I was.
Were you at Oasis last night?
Our kid was at Oasis.
AI infused, or is this like the most anti-AI?
Well, there was someone next to me shazamming "Don't Look Back in Anger," but
nonsense.
But I tell you, Liam had his bucket hat so low down his face, it was literally dripping over his nose. So frankly, it could have been a hologram.
Could have been, yeah.
I wouldn't have known.
AI hologram.
I mean, it was absolutely incredible. In the words of LG, biblical. But who knows? It could have been a hologram. Maybe that's how they've actually managed to do it without falling out. You know, they've got them over the dotted line because they're not actually there. It's actually ABBA-style hologram.
It's AI Liam. And if you swap around the A and the I in Liam, you end up with...
Nice.
Yeah. So you
no, I see what you did there.
I didn't expect it. I mean, if anything, it's all about sort of nostalgia and all the rest of it. Much the same as your Glasto experience. There probably isn't a lot of AI on
it was very people reliving their 90s childhoods. It's like winning the lottery, getting one of those tickets, right? And I think everyone there knew it.
Yeah.
And everyone there was like, wow, we are lucky to be here. I was very fortunate and had an amazing
Apart
time.
from the bloke on Shazam. Brilliant. That's banter.
Right, let's move on to what has been making the headlines in the world of AI this week. And we're going to start with what we are dubbing the AI Wars.
You've dubbed it as...
I've dubbed it as the AI Wars. And let's jump into this, James, because there are some big headlines coming from tech giants this week about their investments in AI as the AI wars heat up.
Yeah, very, very good. I mean, there is a dizzying amount of stuff going on with these big platforms. We'll start with Meta. So they had an incredible earnings call, which is where they come on and basically signal to all the investors how well they're doing. Their Q2 revenue hit 47.5 billion. They smashed all of their Wall Street forecasts. Mark Zuckerberg launched Meta Superintelligence Labs. What a name. Which is going to build self-improving AI aimed at personal superintelligence. So we talked a lot about that.
Meta Superintelligence Labs, he's really feeding into the whole evil genius shtick right now. Between him and Musk, it's like, that does sound like a corporation in like a Spider-Man film set up by some like evil... Do you know what I mean, James? It does. So James, what is this Meta Superintelligence Labs? What does it all mean?
Well, it's all aimed at this sort of personal superintelligence. So improving AI to such an extent that it can kind of do everything seamlessly for you. And interestingly, OpenAI have talked a lot about wanting to get there on superintelligence first. So kind of interesting that Meta have. But this isn't the biggest, most profound thing they've talked about. For me, it's the part where they talked about the investment that they're making. They talked about their 2025 CapEx, so the capital expenditure, which is on stuff like data centers and chips, all these physical things that they're building to enhance AI. Some of the big hires that they're making from from OpenAI, etc. That amount is going to be $69 billion for the year. To put that in context, at their current valuations, that would buy you Zoom, Pinterest, and Snap combined with some spare change. NASA's annual budget is about $25 billion, so Meta could fund nearly 3 NASAs for a year, or you could build 2.5 Elizabeth lines, which cost around 18 billion. I mean, this is a staggering amount of money.
Are they betting the house on AI?
Absolutely. And all of this is factored in, like the hires that they need to make, the things that they need to build. I mean, the direction of travel is utterly, utterly clear. If you know, Meta went through this whole thing with metaverse, and then COVID happened, and it all got really, really strange and never quite achieved its ambition. This feels very, very different. This is a complete line in the sand. And I don't see any other company making this sort of investment around AI.
Okay, 2 questions. Firstly, what are they investing in? Secondly, why will no one else invest to this level?
Well, they might. This might fire the starting pistol on it. I mean, it's hard to...
The AI wars.
Well, yeah, I hate to feed into your narrative, but yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's others, Google, OpenAI, Musk, they're all going to have to up their spend in order to keep pace. Otherwise, Meta's going to run away with this. In terms of what it's going to cover, heavy hiring they talked about from competitors, which we know they've been doing. You know, lots and lots of money to get some of the best talent there, but really sort of foundational technological stuff, data centers, chips, tools that can run all of these big, large scale AI models. So, yeah, like I said, line in the sand.
So they're investing basically in the infrastructure to be able to have more AI.
It's all processing power, you know, people that we've talked to before on things like that. All of these things we sort of think they're slightly ephemeral, they're kind of just digital, but they need a physical home in like a data center. So they're building all of that footprint out.
So that their products can do more AI things.
Precisely. Faster. Things like chips, they'll certainly benefit from some of the...
Chips? What are chips?
Well, just microchips, stuff that helps run these things that will sit in data centers. They will definitely benefit from some of the direction of travel with Trump saying, I want to build all this stuff in the US. I don't want to import it from China, hence big tariffs. So, you know, it feels like it's all kind of coming together. But yeah, I am not seeing other companies investing this amount of money. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see others ramp up though.
And Meta's focus, am I right in saying, their AI future is very individualistic in the sense that how can AI bring little moments to your everyday?
I think make everything easier. You know, they were all about connecting the world. That was the ambition of Facebook before it became Meta. And this is really using that whole suite of products. And we talked about this before, whether it's WhatsApp or Messenger, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it might be. Increasingly what they're doing with Oculus and wearables, all of that is going to be tied together by AI. It's going to book holidays for you. It's going to compose messages for you. It's going to do all these things, but just utterly, utterly seamlessly.
That level of investment is... staggering.
Yeah, it's a big one. Other stuff, and we don't stop there. Like I said, there's been so much going on. Microsoft also had some really strong results for Q2. They beat all of their expectations to the markets. They've started to invest as well. They're going to invest $100 billion in 2026 in data centers, and again, they're looking at talent as well.
So they're going to spend even more than what Meta are doing.
But that's going to be in kind of a full year and a slightly longer rollout. Their cloud product, which is called Azure, that's a massive business for them. That's where all the stuff is kind of stored, all of the information, and all of that demand is basically being driven by AI stuff. So Microsoft also having a hell of a quarter. Doesn't stop there. Google had some big news. They launched AI mode. So if you're in the app in the UK now, you're not getting traditional search listings. You are effectively you're almost writing a kind of stream of consciousness or a prompt, and you're getting an AI result. And this is fundamentally redefining how we think about it.
Is that new? Because I feel like I've been getting the little Google AI
Gemini bit that you're getting, the AI, which is kind of been the AI. Yeah, so we've had bits of that. That rollout is complete now.
So we're just getting more of that,
and you'll be getting it in the app. The big impact, and we've talked about this before, is the the way you used to perform a search and you'd have a bunch of listings, some of them paid for, some of them organic, people would click through, you'd go to a news site or wherever the information was. The AI overviews are causing a 79% drop in click-through rates to those websites. So if
this could be disastrous for publishers.
Well, it's a huge kind of fork in the road where they really need to rethink strategies, because search is fundamentally changing. It's been the same way for so long, but this is a huge change. And whether you're a publisher or you're a content creator, you need to figure out how you're going to work in this new world. The first thing you need to do is you need to figure out how you enable your sites, the assets that you create, to be looked at, absorbed, to train AI models. And given AI is so new, no one's really creating things in this way. So there's opportunity in all of this. I can see this massive cottage industry of different agencies, different people that can help businesses do that in much the same way as we had when smartphones came along. We had to build stuff that worked on smartphones. Social media came along. You had lots of people that popped up, showed you how to do that. Same with Amazon. I don't think this is any different. So I think as much as it feels pretty scary, I think there's huge opportunity for people who can come in and make some of the complex stuff quite simple and help businesses become more AI ready.
Is this not quite self-destructive for Google, for Alpha, who own Google? Because they're essentially killing off what must be one of their most profitable parts of the business in terms of search and ads. When you're searching for things, as you just said, you are killing this off.
We don't quite know what an AI ad model might look like in search. You know, for example, you could still have some form of sponsored listings in there somehow. It wouldn't work as we.
That sounds dangerous to me. If you let's say you touched on booking a holiday, if you were turning to Google's AI to book a holiday and it's telling you the best deal is this here, staying at this hotel, flying with EasyJet, but they paid for that.
Well, I think it's all around how you flag and signpost this stuff. You know, if you were to go to a traditional search and you were to say best holidays, you'd have a listing appear at the top, which you might assume would be the best holiday, but it's still marked as something that's paid. So I think they have to be, and I think they will be, very, very cautious and intentional about how they signpost this stuff, so people know that if it is a brand that's sort of paid to be there, then that's not sort of Google's recommendation because they are the best or they are 5 stars. So again, it's a slight reimagination. I don't love that word, but I think it's appropriate here, of how we think about search and how people's behavior, I think, will change.
Final word on this. Is this the end for digital publishing?
No, but it's certainly a moment of reinvention for them, without a shadow of a doubt. We'll need to think about, one, that ongoing debate around how they're compensated for the stuff that they're creating, which is effectively, you know, being used to train different AIs. And, you know, things like traffic, which they're heavily reliant on, they're going to have to rethink that as well, not just with Google, but with platforms like Facebook, etc. So I think a moment of real reinvention. I think fortune will favour the brave here, the ones that think about things differently and maybe don't do as they've always done. But yeah, it's a really interesting moment for publishing for sure.
James, we are talking about the AI wars. And Amazon and Google are going at it, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't forget Amazon. So yeah, while all of that stuff is happening with Meta, Microsoft and Google, Amazon are taking a slightly different track. They are updating their site code to stop AI shopping tools, so things like ChatGPT, Perplexity, from effectively scraping its listings and bubbling that stuff up somewhere else. Shopify and Walmart in the States have done similar things where they're protecting all of their product data from being sucked up and used by AI. And this is basically, you know, retailers like Amazon trying to prepare and trying to think about how they can control their environment rather than allowing bots to come in, scoop it up, make recommendations. So, you know, they're not going to be cut out here, but it's a slightly different tack from maybe what we've heard from some of the others.
Why would Amazon not want to be, let's say, part of ChatGPT's results to what's the cheapest camera I can buy?
I think Amazon would rather be in control of that experience, what people are searching for and what they go on to buy. You know, not forgetting that Amazon is probably I think almost definitely Google's biggest customer in terms of search listing. If you search for something that's on Amazon, any sort of keyword, invariably it will take you there in one click. So I just think they're being cautious about who they're allowing to kind of scrape content. If you thought about if publishers look at the Amazon model, I mean, that's quite an interesting thing. You want to put some guardrails around what AIs can take and what they can use. But yeah, certainly a different tactic from not allowing it to scrape all of their listings. God, there's lots going on.
There is, and it feels like after 2 or 3 years of AI being this sort of buzzword thing that people are hearing about and talking about in vagaries, it feels now like this is really all kicking off. I know I half joke about the AI wars. I'm not really. It does seem there are a lot of businesses, brands, creatives who over the last few weeks, almost since we've started the podcast, are now going, hold on a minute, I don't want to be part of this AI setup. I want to, as you just said, James, control the AI experience, control my creative, control the way my music's used with AI, all that kind of stuff. It really feels like right now people are going, oh my goodness, hold on a minute, let's pull things away and decide ourselves how we should own this. If it's not too late, that is.
Well, again, we've talked about toothpaste being out of the tube probably on most episodes. I think that has happened. This is an exponential acceleration. The idea that the pace of this stuff is just doubling and doubling and doubling, and that's actually quite dizzying, and that's really hard to keep up with. We've talked about 4 companies. We've not even talked about Perplexity. We've not talked about Anthropic. We've not really talked about ChatGPT. We've not even mentioned China. Yet there's so much that's happening kind of so quickly to stay on top of. This could just become a AI news podcast if we're not careful.
Well, we will move things on. Okay, James, do you ever sit at home with, Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, Paramount, Discovery, Sky Now TV?
Very nice.
Don't forget BBC ITV Channel 4 and Channel 5. Do you ever sit at home and think, there's just not enough to watch?
I think you wanted a means to demonstrate your encyclopedic knowledge of various stream platforms, which you did very well.
Thank you very much.
The answer to that question is I don't, because there's actually still quite a lot to watch. But interestingly, Amazon has just invested in a AI streaming platform called Showrunner, which effectively will allow people to enter prompts in some way and create their own content, as if we've run out of all the stuff to binge on.
Yeah, so there's not enough to watch right now across all the different platforms. So you need to create your own content. It turns out this is a subscription model. So people are paying like up to 30 quids a month, and they're then going to create their own content. Now, is this inserting themselves into existing content or is it very much you are creating a piece of work for yourself from scratch?
Well, I think the merit in this will be in Amazon striking deals with some of the big studios. You can imagine Disney and you kind of creating your own version of some Disney program. I don't know how much merit there is in creating something from scratch. So Fable, who are the studio who produced Showrunner, they're talking to a lot of studios at the moment, basically pitching them, offering some rev share deals, saying, yeah, if you can let us do this, then we can give you a percentage of whatever the subscription they're making back. So it feels like a model where people can win. They're working on something original as well. It's called Exit Valley, a satirical animated series mocking tech leaders like Musk, like Sam Altman, I would imagine. And they're going to design it so that people can actually remix their own versions of the episode as well. So this might be the first look that we get.
I wonder if Bezos will be in this now.
Very interesting.
So in my mind, what I'm seeing is it's like an add-on to, let's say, your Disney Plus subscription, where you could be fighting Darth Vader with a lightsaber instead of Luke.
Yeah, totally. Or, you could kind of go in and pick. There might be some guardrails around this stuff. They could set up scenarios so it won't be sort of entirely like, you can build something from scratch. But I reckon that's pretty cool. Inserting yourself into big, epic movies and TV shows. I mean, I think I'd pay 30 quid a month for that.
You've already seen it in some theme parks. For example, Universal have used AI and VR to let people insert themselves into the Nintendo universe. Yeah. So I can see it becoming something that people pay a lot of money for. This is the sort of thing that especially this kind of millennial Gen Z generation want to spend money on. We love IP. We love experiences. bring them together. I could see this being very popular.
But don't forget as well, it's going to be a point of difference. We talk about AI wars, the sort of the streaming wars. You listed off a load of them there. Yeah. They're all trying to find a reason why you would subscribe to them and not drop off that person's subscription list. And this could be it. If Amazon get there first, then you're more likely to get Prime than perhaps you are something else. I could see it as a point of difference as well.
Interesting. There's another piece of AI in film news, James. What's going on with an Indian film business?
So they're going to re-release a drama that they made in 2013, and the ending is going to have an alternative AI ending without any involvement of the original director, who, by the way, found out about it through reading about it in the media. And they're going to change the ending, which was a tragic ending. It's going to be replaced using AI with a happy one.
Oh my word. This is huge. Like this, if this becomes a thing, imagine the films that we could rewrite.
I can see the cogs in your head starting
I'm just thinking, maybe Jack can fit on the door.
In Titanic.
In Titanic.
Yeah.
I don't know, Romeo and Juliet could survive.
Or maybe just one of them.
But perhaps.
Romeo goes first, Juliet goes on, does whatever she's going to do.
What else could we have? We could have Darth Vader actually defeating Obi-Wan. I mean, the possibilities here are endless.
they really are.
I think we need to throw this out to everybody listening. Why don't we put something on social media? We are encouraging anybody to comment in. What film ending would you use AI to change?
They're kind of all so good. Like, you can't change The Matrix. Inception.
Some of them aren't.
You can't.
Game of Thrones.
Never watched it.
Well, the ending was not fantastic.
Okay, yeah,
the ending wasn't great.
Yeah,
I would change it. And there are several films. Some people, they might be fed up of good always defeating evil.
Yeah.
And let us know what you would
very
like.
good.
I would love to hear from you.
Very good.
You can also email us as well, aihaven'taclue@gmail.com. That, by the way, is the same email address to ask James a question. Because every week we have a lovely listener ask us a terrifying question, which James aims to tackle. And this week, thank you to Liam, who sent us this. What's an example of a totally non-obvious use of AI that you've seen be really useful to a business?
Well, I had to do a bit of research on this because it's not kind of plainly obvious, is it? Because a lot of the stuff that you read about is pretty obvious. It's efficiencies or it's machines that can replace people, the kind of the standard stuff that we talked about. I did find a very neat example though. It's from a startup that's based in New York called VAM. They basically build AI and different bits of software to make physical spaces and machines work together and make them a little bit smarter. They don't build lots of the hardware. They just try and use existing stuff. So they've got two amazing examples that I found. The first one is they looked at an ice hockey stadium, the UBS Arena, which is the home of the New York Islanders. And they basically made all of the bathroom queues, so the toilet queues when people go in, in between the periods, that sort of stuff. They made them smart. So they've got the existing cameras. They looked at the flow of people, and you can go in the app, the New York Islanders app, and you can look at it. You can see where the shortest queue is, a bit like when you go to customs at the airport. They also do this amazing thing with a pizza restaurant, Sbarro, which is the home of the original XL New York pizza. Of course, our American listeners will know that. At pizza buffets, they use cameras to take snapshots of, when you've got like the whole buffet laid out, to take pictures of the pizzas, and as they start to look a bit sort of depleted or they're flagging a little bit, they're not looking so good, the AI understands that and they ping them to change it up. They start to understand which are the most popular pizzas. So not flashy, there's no sort of generative anything going on here, but sort of quite practical, come out basically. One about toilets, one about pizza. If that satisfies Leo.
Use that tech. What about car parks?
Car parks would be good. I saw a company once that were using cameras to the opening doors of retail shops to try and understand the types of shoes that people were wearing and then infer the type of customer that came into their shop. Which is quite good. So if people are wearing lots of high tops and sneakers, or they're wearing high heels, you can kind of infer what's going on there. So yeah, I think there's loads of use cases here.
Cheap shoes. not worth their time.
Cheap shoes,
Let's
get
to the
out.
person that's wearing-
Manhandled out of there.
Interesting though. I mean, you can see these kind of AI technologies, especially in the sales world, being very quickly implemented when people can make more money.
Yeah, I think so.
That's tends to be where things accelerate, right? So, very interesting. And Liam, thank you for that fantastic question. If you do have a question for us, the socials is the place to go. Have AI Clue on Instagram and TikTok. We are on LinkedIn, and our Substack is live.
Yeah.
Do actually give it a follow. James, I'm going to plug this quite hard. I think it's pretty decent.
Yeah, it's good.
You
It's
can
very, very
see loads of latest news, hear from expert guests, and stay in touch with us. Subscribe to our Substack if you would like. It's in the show notes.
I would say as well, that was a good question from Liam.
I thought you were about to say the Substack's good.
The Substack is also incredible.
Yeah.
As incredible as Liam's question, which I thought was good. On the right side of hard, taxing, not impossible, but I like that.
Well, perhaps maybe the next question will be even more difficult.
Yeah,
I would
keep them
love
coming.
to see you
Yeah, very
sweat. Email us, of course, as well, aihaven'aclue@gmail.com. Okay, it's time now for the part of the podcast, James's big thing.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah. As we haven't called it that before, but that's the name we're workshopping this week. I'm not sure it's going to
nice.
make it to next week. But anyway, you tell us every week about something you've been playing around with in the world of AI.
Yeah, what I've been playing with this week.
Yes.
Two things. One, I was at home, so I was doing some sort of stuff around the house. One, I had to fix a toilet cistern. I took a picture of it and I got some help with that, which was very good. ChatGPT.
What did ChatGPT tell you to do?
The part that I needed, there was a special bolt that I had to get, the kit where I could get it, did a click and collect for me at B&Q. I mean, it was fantastic the way that it did it.
Amazing.
Anyway, that wasn't the good thing. The good thing I've been doing this week, I've been playing with 11 Labs. And I think 11 Labs is probably, one of the best tools that you can do around voice. So it can clone voices, it can produce podcasts, which is kind of utterly terrifying. It's got voice changers. You can do text to speech, and I was playing with creating different voices. And perhaps I can play this to you as a little thing that I was playing around with. Have a listen to this.
Molly, sending you a voice note as it's easier. So, James is kicking my ass on this AI challenge. How would you feel about giving me a heads up on the next couple of weeks' answers in advance? Happy to play along when we record it, just so it's not plainly obvious. But there's no way I can be in a position where I'm 4 behind again. It's just so fucking humiliating. Do you know what I mean?
Is that supposed to be me?
It's got incredible things. I thought the likeness. Molly's nodding violently.
Do you think it's good?
That's definitely you.
Molly, do you think it's good?
Yeah.
David, do you think it's good?
I think it's very good. It's not quite there, but I think it's very, very close.
I don't. Do you actually?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Well, firstly, I don't agree. And secondly, kicking my ass? We're fucking tired. What are you talking about?
Potty mouth.
Well, I mean, if I can swear in my voice clone, I can swear in real life.
George's sweary voice clone.
No, so that's so I'm not needed anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Well, Rachel would just sort of punch in the notes and get it to be done. Yeah, let's see.
But then, how would you get it to sound authentically stupid?
I think there's a button you can press, not very hard. Yeah, just
right. We're going to move on. That was James's big thing.
Thank you.
Maybe it will be back next week.
Yeah, keep going,
There might be a new name next week.
Yeah.
Right, time now for this week's guest. Phil Rowley is head of futures at Omnicom Media Group UK, where he helps brands stay ahead using tech like AI, gaming, and immersive media.
And he's just produced a brand new report called The Future of Entertainment. And they look at how AI is transforming content creation, everything from influencers all the way through to storytelling. Get ready for a deep dive into the 4 forces that are shaping the future of entertainment and why AI might be our next big creative partner.
Phil, thank you so much for joining us and being on this podcast. Your new report, it says that we're now in the era of AI in entertainment. So What does that mean? Tell us.
The shortcut, and we'll get into it, no doubt, is that I think what we're going to see is vastly increased content, volumes of creativity made quicker, faster, for more people to satisfy more tastes. I think we'll see a lifting of the floor of creativity and a lifting of the ceiling thanks to AI. But because there's going to be an absolute tsunami of content of different formats and shapes and sizes, we're going to need AI and its algorithms as the sifter, as the sorter. And so I think what we're ultimately getting into an era where there's just more of everything, but a greater need to get exactly the content that we require quicker.
Is this going to lead us to a place where we are more entrenched in our own ecosystems, or where we kind of only see the stuff that we think we're interested in and never get to explore other bits of music, film, TV, whatever it is, because our feed is just being so tailorized for us?
I think that's a possibility, but at the end of the day, an algorithm is ultimately a proxy for the things that we've liked and we've clicked on and we've searched for. Okay, so it's not a taste maker, it's a taste reflector. If we have narrow tastes, then I think it's more likely to be able to serve up content that satisfied those tastes. But at the same time, I think that, if you are tempted to search for something that's outside the boundaries of those tastes, then that will in itself inform the algorithm and inform the AI, and to be served up things which are perhaps outside of our comfort zone. I'd also like to see, or like to investigate, if there's anything within those algorithms that essentially is a line of code which is almost a roll of the dice, if you see what I mean. So it's going to bring you something from outside of your taste preference. Perhaps it's not that something that's radically different from the things that you're listening to, but there's a common element somewhere that means that, well, why don't we try this? Why don't we test this? And then if you like it and you click on it and you listen to it, then of course, then that becomes entrenched within the algorithm. But I don't think we should necessarily think of an algorithm as choosing our taste. It reflects our tastes back to us.
Yeah, that's a good point. You talk about 4 forces that are reshaping entertainment in this report. Tell us about them.
Okay, I'm going to take you through them all one by one. Cool. Okay, so there are 4 Ds, and that's the way that I think we understand the way that artificial intelligence is affecting the entertainment industry. The first D is democratizing. So this idea that both the ceiling of creativity is raising, but also the floor of creativity is raising as well. We've all played with the Gen AI tools and managed to produce our own pictures and our own images and our own films, and that's great. But I think that is almost like it's analogous to the way that the internet democratized information. We have access to more tools if we so wish to expand and extend our talents and our abilities, and to express ourselves creatively if we want. I think that we also see a democratization, or should we say a depremiumization of the tools which can aid people who are in the creative industry already. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we'll see a replacement of creativity. It just means an extension and augmentation wherever you are within that spectrum. The 2 examples that I use, if I may, is there's an influencer called Isaac Arthur, who is on YouTube, and he is somebody that talks about terraforming and planetary societies. It's amazing content, but if he's listening, Isaac, I'm really sorry, but when your videos first started in, say, 2000, 2004, all he had at his disposal were JPEGs and stock footage that he would use to animate his proclamations about where we would be in 10,000 years. And the standard was not great because he wasn't a producer, he was a thinker. But if he started again today, again, that democratization, his floor would be raised because he would have so fantastic tools to express his ideas. At the other end of the scale of that democratization, we have somebody like Gareth Edwards, who is now a famous film director, okay? He started on something called Monsters. I don't know if you've seen this. 6-figure budget. Completed it in his bedroom using an Adobe After Effects program, but such was his level of talent, Hollywood spotted him, and he went on to direct Star Wars Rogue One, Godzilla, and latterly something called The Creator, which I don't know if you've seen, is about AI. Yeah. 2 very different talents with very different spheres of interest. But what was happening is AI, or should we say, the idea of augmenting your creativity, has just enhanced the talent that was already there. This is not about replacing, this is about extending. That's democratisation. That's the one that's spoken about the most because that's the one perhaps where the conversation leads and where the fears are. But there's three others which I don't think get the airtime. The second D is diffusing. And this idea that AI can now take one content format and immediately make it a different content format. We've seen text to video. We've seen audio to video. You can type any prompt in and turn one form of media into another, okay, instantly now. And what that means is that any form of media is almost like a solid and a liquid and a gas. It can be multi-format and multimodal by default. And what we're telling our brands is that don't just think in terms of the TV ad and the radio ad. You could take your TV ad and make it a radio ad like in the blink of an AI, essentially. Yeah. So that means we've got to start thinking in multimodal form when it comes to media. The third D is dimensionalising. And this idea that I think that gaming has been such a huge gravitational pull on our media over the last 40 years. And nobody really talks about it in the same way as we talk about TV or radio, that AI is going to turbocharge gaming in three ways. First of all, it's going to allow people like you and I to create games just by describing our game in the English language, thanks to large language models. The second thing, it's going to be able to give characters or NPCs, non-player characters, almost their own pseudo-sentience. So they can now interact with you, not on a script. When I played The Secret of Monkey Island on my Amiga in whenever this was, 1992, you could only select from certain answers, but imagine a character that can say almost anything. And the third thing, which I think is really undersold, is this idea of dimensionalizing, taking 2D and AI can extrapolate the third dimension from a flat plane, which means that flat pictures and flat images and flat stock footage can all of a sudden be navigable in 3 dimensions. And AI is going to turbocharge that. Because if you think about it, depth was the thing that was introduced by gaming 40 years ago, and now AI can automate that depth. And then the fourth one is dismantling. And I honestly think that democratization argument, if you take it in a global way, that means that there are emerging markets that will be for the first time allowed to express their voice on a world stage because AI is becoming integrated into cheap smartphones. The geopolitical gravity of our entertainment landscape will change. If you just look at the number of markets that are piling in billions and billions into the entertainment industry, India, China, Saudi Arabia, it's going to change everything. We're moving from a bipolar world to a unipolar world culturally, thanks to AI. And they are the 4 Ds.
It's good, isn't it?
It's incredible.
Is it going to transform the way that we as a consumer take in our media? So is it going to cast, do you think, the end of, going to the cinema and watching a film as we know it, sitting at home, picking on Netflix, watching a series in its linear format as we currently do? Is that going anywhere now that everything can be slightly more personalized, customized, and there's sort of, as you say, that every character has its own story that isn't even written?
I think that we have to be careful to not overstate the speed at which this change will happen. I think if you went out onto the road, George, you'd still see a diesel car, a petrol car, an electric car. We still have cash and we still have Bitcoin and we still have checkbooks, or my mum tries to write checks in 2025.
That's unbelievable.
My point is that things don't just wake up one day and you've transitioned. Things transition at different rates over a different time. Yes, there is the potential for media to be more customized, for our content to be more customized. But that doesn't mean to say, for instance, that there is still a role for mass, mainstream, monolithic communication that is the same for wherever you are in the world. The whole point about a Super Bowl ad is that everybody sees the same ad and talks about it the next day. So I think there'll be coexistence with this modernization and this futurization with traditional methods, which might slowly move out of our common usage. I mean, goodness me, vinyl made a comeback, didn't it? Right? So I would never write off any form of media because it's just perhaps recontextualized and reframed for different use cases. I don't necessarily think it's going to introduce anything that's overtly new. It's an accelerator, an enhancer, and an extender. That's the immediate way to understand what will happen.
What do you say to this argument that, I look at my LinkedIn feed and it's full of emoji bullet lists that are probably ChatGPT created.
Rocket.
It's all feeling quite samey. What do you say to people who go, AI is just going to create everything that's kind of looks, feels the same, as nuance is lost? That's the thing that humans can do. Where do you go with an argument like that?
I think again, that depends on what you're looking for from your content experiences. So I don't know if you've seen headlines at the moment that there is a band called...
Yes, I was going to ask you. Velvet Sundown.
Velvet Sundown,
yeah.
Right? Okay, so why I think this is interesting is I listened to Velvet Sundown, okay?
What do you think?
I feel like I'm insulting them. Like, I didn't like it.
They don't exist, Phil. They don't exist.
No, but it's because it's bland and boring and predictable, okay? But here's the thing, right? Whisper it. Some people like bland and boring and predictable.
Really?
Right? So here's the thing. If you're listening to the radio and you're driving the kids to school or you're cooking or something and you're not really engaging with it, it might be perfectly fine for it to be artificially generated. It ticks the box, right? Because you're not after emotional engagement. You're just after something which soundtracks your day, and you're not going to deep dive into it. It's just there in the background and it's hummable and it's not challenging. And there is no problem with that because there are hundreds of radio stations in the world that play music without, this is not about elitism or snobbery, that just simply satisfy a particular need state. If, like me, you're interested in a band from my neck of the woods, which is the Sleaford Mods, right? You are never going to accept an artificial version of Jason Williamson rapping about having a can of Strongbow and clutching onto a leaflet on depression supplied to me by the NHS, because it is the human delivery that we are connecting with. So the answer to your question, James, is do you want distraction or do you want connection? And if you understand the difference between those two things, I think AI would satisfy one, but it ain't going to satisfy the other because you're looking for the humanity and the connection.
It's a brilliant point, and I completely agree with you, Phil. There's going to be so much content out there because anybody can literally create anything from wherever they are. How are we going to be able to, how's anything going to cut through?
Indeed. And there are only so many hours in the day, right? You know, you can't spend the whole day in front of your TV or your phone looking for the content that you need to find. But then that goes back to that point about the algorithms, which have they're your survival tool. They're your navigation in the wilderness. They are the things that are going to have to learn what you like and bring you the right things to watch. And if it's brought you the wrong thing to watch and you don't click on it, or you drop off after 10 minutes or 10 seconds, I should say, then it'll go, well, don't play that again. These are the only way that I think that we can see our way forward. Because, you know, I think there's something like if you sat down now and tried to watch every video on YouTube, personally, it would take 114,000 years. Right? So we've known for a very long time that you can't consume. But hang on, that's nothing new. We've had, I know that I'm old enough to remember 3 television stations in this country, right? But even then I couldn't watch everything. That's why the Radio Times existed, or the pick of the day in the Daily Mail. It would say, I think you should watch this, or watch this if you like that. There were early versions of that before pre-AI and pre-internet era. Again, it's just extended and augmented and expanded.
Thinking about young people, you know, this is a technology that is potentially going to take lots of jobs. So they might be going to study at university, go and do a graduate job. AI has the potential to take some of those jobs that they might have done before. Should they be embracing it? Do they fear it? What's the kind of the top tips for...
I think it's like any new technology, right? It has its risks, but I think you need a healthy respect for it and an understanding of it, but also you need to commit to using it to fully understand it. The way that I think about AI, we talk about artificial intelligence, but another way to think about it is augmented intelligence. It's a word that I've used a lot, but it can boost your productivity. It can boost your creativity. It can even, you know, from a medical standpoint, potentially boost your longevity as well. And in that regard, I would want people to think of it as an enhancement to their endeavors, not a replacement. And that's my fervent wish.
Yeah.
Gaming is something you touched upon.
Yes.
Are we going to end up in like a Ready Player One style situation where we're like living another life inside of a game? Because as you said, you know, you will be able to have conversations about anything and everything with NPCs.
I think, again, there is the potential to do that if you so wish. But people often say, oh, does this mean that there'll be no films in the future and we'll be able to choose your own adventure and sort of create your own narrative, and there'll be multi-stranded, open-ended stories where you can eventuate any ending? And I say, well, possibly. But I still think the idea that we have meal kits in this country, but we also have Michelin-starred chefs. In other words, we do want people with better taste and better skills than us to make selections that we like. Okay?
have radio and you have Spotify, right? Sometimes you want to put the music you want on. Sometimes you want someone else to tell you what you want to listen to.
Exactly. So yes, there will be the ability to perhaps getting involved in a game where you can choose from 1,000 potential endings. But I don't think that Christopher Nolan is worried about that because when he makes a decision, right, this is how Inception is going to end. That is an incredibly well thought through, crafted narrative that we perhaps could not have come up with, mere mortals. And that's what we're actually buying into at that point. We're actually buying into the skill of a storyteller rather than being able to choose any old story. And those two things can coexist. Yeah. Where I see gaming actually affecting things is in the visual grammar of the way that films are put together. The idea of angles, that the way that the camera moves, the visual quality of gaming is the thing that we're seeing replicated in mainstream media today.
Can I just stay on movies for a little bit? I know one of your hobby or a fandom is sort of dystopian films that have imagined technology and AI.
Yes.
Of all the ones that you could talk about, which one do you think has got it sort of most right about the future?
Back to the Future too, surely.
I make no secret of the fact that I think Blade Runner is my favourite film. I know that's a cliche, but that was the thing that really turned me on into being a futurist when I was young. In terms of the depiction of AI, though, there are films which have undue prominence in terms of affecting our opinion on where AI is going, particularly things like The Matrix and Terminator, which are this idea that there will be a harbinger of apocalyptic doom. And I think that's wrong. Where I think is a really nice example of where they got AI right is with 2001: A Space Odyssey, where HAL just simply malfunctions in the way that, you might get a blue screen of death on your PC and not really understand why. And what happens is that the two astronauts, Bowman and Poole, have to try and work out a way of overriding his authority and trying to convince the computer that he's wrong about something because they in themselves, their humanity and their intellect have an understanding that is better than the machine. And I think that's a really interesting depiction where we will still find examples where we know that computer is wrong, but we can't explain it. It's just intuition, even though the computer, in its own understanding of what is it's analysing, thinks that it's absolutely right. Yeah. We've heard the term hallucination, haven't we, where it's referencing data which itself could be robust when taken out of context, but it's made the wrong connections. It's somehow managed to get it wrong. That, I think, is a really interesting depiction. That idea of polite malfunctions is the thing that we need to be cautious of.
What's the one thing that everyone listening should know about AI? What's the one thing everybody listening should be worried about AI? And what's the one thing everybody should be excited for?
I think that more people should know about AI. Okay. I think the danger is that we're all sat here talking in our little marketing and media bubble. But actually, when you talk to people outside our industry, if you talk to the person on the street, even though they have an awareness of AI, I don't think they yet fully understand the utility and the use cases that it has. And so to try and answer your question, we should be excited about the fact that it can make people's lives better. My worry is that they might not access that, or they might be scared of it or afeared of it. But as we said before, the best way to try and take advantage of it, and the most exciting opportunity, is for people to actually bring their problems, to bring their objectives, to bring their goals to the AI and work in tandem with the machine to see how it can add value to their lives. And I think while we're talking about AI in terms of entertainment and creativity and things like that, that's fine. But there are other things that it can do for your average person out there on the street that we haven't yet begun to scratch the surface of. And that's what I think we need to do.
That was awesome, Phil. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, Phil was a good laugh, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's so good. I've come across him in lots of various bits and pieces, and I knew he'd be good.
Sorry, Molly, did you get his number and his email?
What do you mean?
Well, as in, have you got his contact details?
Why do you need his contact details?
Well, because he was quite good, wasn't he? He was a good expert in...
come on. You're bitch about the voice clone, aren't you? I think that's what it is.
No, I'm sorry, don't read too much into it.
Because if I can replace you, then...
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's how it
Phil
is
and
now.
George has got a nice ring to it.
George and Phil.
No,
it's like a sort of...
We'll see. Phil, thank you so much for joining us. What a brilliant guy.
Yeah, he's good.
Right, it is time now for the latest
Here we go.
of the AI challenge. So the those who've never heard this podcast before or survived till the very end, I don't blame you. It's long. We do this thing at the end of every episode called the AI Challenge, where James and I face off against each other, bidding to try and determine what's real and human and what is AI. James, would you just remind everybody how things are standing?
We're 5-5, I think, aren't we?
It's
5 apiece. I've been through the ringer. I've thrown away a 4-0 lead. You've clawed your way back. It was kind of neck and neck. Yeah, and we're back. I think it's getting harder. I thought they were a lot easier at the start. Yeah, I've had a good reflective week.
Yep.
That was tight last week. That was a good challenge.
Right down to the wire.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind something a bit more lo-fi, just sort of cat noises. I think I was excelling at. So,
yeah.
I mean, Molly will have her own ideas about what she wants to do.
Talking of which, it's the cat noise queen herself.
Hey!
Producer Supreme, Molly Carter.
Yes,
Oh, AI. It's AI. It's AI. No, it's not. It's Molly.
It's me.
Hey, Mol. How's it going? What's happening?
I have generated this week, not that I'm trying to look for new presenters or anything, but there's a...
I have been. I don't know about you. Don't tell him in front of him. We were talking about it behind his back.
Cat's out the bag.
I see what she did there.
Very good.
There's a website where you can get presenters, AI presenters, to present, and I've done a mix of them with a mix of, and I'm really sorry to these people, really bad show reels. So you have to guess who's the real person and who's not.
This is a killer challenge. I love it.
I'm looking for the real people and the real people alone.
So you're going to show us these clips. How many of these presenters are real?
4. Four
okay.
people are real here.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
More Brits are counting calories and flexing their schedules to diarize serious exercise time.
Looking for more space to live, work, and grow? This stunning 4-bedroom home ticks every box.
Take a moment to settle in. Close your eyes, relax your shoulders, and let your breath guide you here, to this space, to this moment. There's nowhere else you need to be.
Sales makes the economy churn, right? But selling isn't just about pushing a product.
More and more men have been getting into yoga. It's been proven to promote weight loss, reduce stress, and even increases deadlift strength down the gym.
Well, for starters, Sweden gave the world ABBA, IKEA, and
some
Spotify.
are really obvious, some are a bit harder.
3 things that pretty much make life better worldwide.
Next time you plan your holiday, why not give where you stay an extra bit of thought?
Mm-hmm. Our 12 points go to Sweden. 10 points to...
Well, I should know that when it comes to Eurovision, you only get 12 points.
3, 4, 1, 2, 3,
okay.
4. Okay, pretty straightforward. Don't want to be a gloating goat here, but that was...
Yeah, I also have 4 that I think is real. So in order, James, let's do one at a time. Yep. I think the first real presenter was number 2.
Incorrect. It would have been number 1.
You think number 1's real?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a point of differentiation. Which do you think is your next pick?
Number 3 was AI.
I think 3 is AI.
Okay.
I think 4's real.
Number 4's real, correct.
Agreed.
Yeah.
5?
Real.
I also think real. 6?
AI.
Definitely AI.
7? Real.
8?
AI.
AI.
Oh, no, so it's gonna be one,
so it comes down to number 1 and number 2. James thinks 1 is real. I think 1 is AI, and I think 2 is the real correct answer. So Molly, this is great. This is brilliant. Molly, could you reveal, is number 1, presenter 1, real or AI?
Presenter 1 is real.
Yes! You don't want to overthink these things. Don't want to overthink them.
What made you think she was AI?
What made you think presenter 2? Can I quickly see 2 again?
Looking for more space to live, work, and grow? This stunning 4-bedroom home ticks every box.
Clearly AI.
I thought he was really real. But not real.
It's good, but it's
I still think it's real. Well, look, James, I can only say congratulations, actually. Fair enough. You know what? I'm shaking your hand right now. Post-match interview, how are you feeling?
Just I think we just got the tactics right on the day. Pressed on when we needed to. Like I said, these are simple things. Don't want to overthink it, mate.
Are you feeling confident going forward?
We just keep showing up. keep picking out the AI. That's all I'm here to do.
Take it one challenge at a time. I'm not going to be bitter. I'm not going to be angry. I'm just going to be better next week.
Sound a bit bitter. It's a shame.
Well, that is all we've got time for. I'm always bitter. That is all we've got time for in this week's episode of AI Having a Clue. And a huge thanks to Phil for joining us. And of course, thanks to you for listening. If you have enjoyed it, we would love it if you would subscribe, perhaps like, share, do all of that, because it helps our podcast equally. If you really liked it and you want to support what we do in our Substack, James, did you know this?
Yeah.
There's like a premium version where people can support what we do. We give them exclusive content.
Hard cash.
Hard cash.
Yeah, love it.
We put it into the podcast.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
So if you'd like to do that, if you'd like to support what we do, that'd be very kind.
Very nice.
As we said earlier, the link to the Substack is in the show notes. Right. We would like to say a huge thanks to Molly, Carter and David. May our producers extraordinaire. We will be back next time with more AI goodness. But until then, James,
stay curious.